anything else?
For you, I guess, is that right?
Sure.
I wanted to get your some of your thoughts on the election, the primary or the runoff date potentially being moved back. I guess who does that help or hurt, and does it, and both on the Democratic and the Republican side?
I don't know that it helps or hurts anybody. I mean, it's way too. You just don't know. I mean, one would hope, as I said, the one thing that you want to see more than anything is democracy executed correctly. I think you've heard before, I've not been a fan of moving the election, but, as I said, the one thing you want to do is you want to see everybody have the opportunity to vote. You don't want to see things go wrong. So while I'm still believe that the election should occur 2 weeks afterwards, as it's supposed to, if there is a runoff. And let me be honest about that, if there is. But I don't know that it favors anybody if it's delayed for an extra week.
Mr. Thompson, you've already secured endorsements from a lot of prominent Latinos already in current office, Mr. Ramos, Mr. Diaz, and today Mr. Padillo. What kind of role and relevance do you think Latino vote is going to have in your favor in terms of the primary?
Well, I think the Latino vote is a huge portion of New York City's vote. And obviously, I think that the support of prominent individuals, those who have worked for years, within the Latino community and within larger communities, helps. At the same point, I still think it is what I do, and it is not just in showing up, not just endorsements. As I said, those are helpful, but it is a lifetime spent of working with the Latino community. It is the different issues, education, housing, jobs. That's what the Latino community cares about also. So it isn't just endorsements; those are helpful. And they're prominent individuals. I'm very proud to have their support. But it is also what I've done through my lifetime in working with people and leaders and generally in the Latino community. But also, it is continuing to talk about the issues that impact the Latino community.
There's a report from The Guardian about the White House approving some kind of a surveillance of phone calls by Verizon customers domestically and abroad. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on that.
I just heard about that. I haven't had a chance to pay, I literally heard about it on the news and honestly don't know what it means at this point. And really, I've only heard, a quick news broadcast. So I don't want to venture an opinion on something that literally I've only heard about 10 seconds about.
Mr. Thompson, from this time forward, are you going to be doing a lot more of this retail campaign? The 5-borough tour, getting out to the elderly. Is that all it is at this point? Are you secure enough fundraising that you don't have to spend a lot of time on the phone?
I think you wind up still having to raise money. I'd like to be able to say that that's done and behind me. But, you're going to have to finish raising funds for the primary, raise money if there is for the possibility of a runoff, and then raise money for the general election. So, fundraising, I'd love to say it was behind me. It isn't. I don't think it's behind anybody at this point.
But you have stepped up activity, and in recent weeks it was, folks have speculated, well, the polls still show him behind. How do you answer the polls?
As I said, I have yet to see the polls be particularly accurate. They've been inaccurate through most of my career, and in many of the elections that I've seen, they've been incredibly inaccurate. This is about September 10th and the primary. That'll be the great indicator, and I believe that I'm going to be the Democratic nominee. So the poll numbers don't concern me. This is about continuing to focus on the future of New York City and putting that vision out there.
Joe Lhota released an ad featuring Rudy Giuliani where the former mayor credited Lhota with helping keep the city running in the immediate aftermath of September 11th. I'm wondering if you have any concerns about the former mayor invoking 9/11 in a campaign ad and giving so much credit to Joe Lhota.
As I said, you're going to see, unfortunately, whether accurate or inaccurate. I'm sure we're going to hear lots of representations. I'm going to continue to focus on my campaign, and then we'll see. We'll start to talk about a November election after we get past the primary.
There were two court decisions in the last few days concerning the Bloomberg administration that you probably were interested in. One was about the handshake deals with DHS that I believe you had initiated when you were controller. This is with the Westchester Center in terms of the homeless shelters and things. And the other, of course, today is with the street hails in the 5 boroughs. So I want to get your take on.
I didn't see the one today yet.
On the street hails?
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Oh, the judge basically, handed the mayor, broke the mayor's losing streak, if you will, when it comes to taxi lawsuits and said that the street hails can proceed, I guess. So.
I think that this administration is wound up in court on more things, probably than any other administration that I've seen in years. They just continue. You know, it's the mayor at times disregarding what the law is, disregarding what the rules is, has always continued to move things forward and attempt to impose his will. And most of the time, I think, as we've seen in court, that doesn't work. So rather than work things out with people ahead of time, the Bloomberg administration always continues to go down the let's move forward and do what we believe, well, let's do what we want to do. And it usually has not worked for him. And you've seen things I've taken him to court in the past or on a couple of issues, and I'm sure that you're going to see, until the end of his administration, until the end of this year, things continue in court.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Last night, the City Council candidate Tony Reynoso asked about the potential of you revisiting your idea for the waste transfer station, especially since he's running for a council seat in Norfolk, which is already affected by a lot of waste transfer stations. He asked the question if you would reconsider or at least engage that community in terms of options for the waste transfers, or if you had a response.
The one thing is the waste transfer site on 91st Street. I'm opposed to that, and willing to talk to any community as we move forward about waste transfer sites. As I said, I think I made it also very clear that I don't want to see communities of color dumped on, and that to continue. And that's something that that I firmly believe in. So I'm happy to engage anybody in that discussion, and council candidate Reynoso or whoever else. Happy to have that conversation.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Herman, thank you so much.